just spent the last 30, 40 minutes talking to Travis Lupick about harm reduction and drug addiction programs in this country. The Biden administration did a good thing with this grant program, which is funding harm reduction throughout the country. It's not that much money, but it is a way to allow for programs like ones we've seen in Philadelphia, New York, and other cities around the country, safe injection sites, for example, which drastically reduce deaths. You have a nurse who can prevent someone from overdosing, provide them with clean needles, prevent the spread of HIV, as well as other drug paraphernalia, the handing out of cleaner drug paraphernalia so people aren't sharing and risking contracting diseases. Because the right wing can't admit that they actually want basically drug addicts to die and get diseases and don't necessarily want to think about them or care about them and see disease resulting from drug abuse as just kind of the price of doing business. They can't say that.
They feel served by the brutal aspects of the drug war.
Yes, and all right, exactly. They can't say that, but they can make racist comments about crack pipes that are very thinly veiled, just throwing it back.
Sorry to interrupt, but like the problem with this is like the way this is done, like as if like Candace Owens was actually standing up for black people. Tucker and Candace come into the like that it was Joe Biden who was being racist. Like I mean, it's really despicable stuff.
Yep. And here is Jen Psaki responding to a question about this program at the White House press briefing.
Thanks, Jen. HHS just put out a statement clarifying around some reports that crack pipes are not going to be part of the safe smoking kits that are funded by the administration. But can you clarify for us, were they never a part of the kit, or were they removed in response to this reporting and this pushback?
They were never a part of the kit. It was inaccurate reporting, and we wanted to put out information to make that clear.
What is in the safe smoking kit?
A safe smoking kit may contain alcohol swabs, lip balm, other materials to promote hygiene and reduce the transmission of diseases like HIV and hepatitis. I would note that what we're really talking about here is steps that we're taking as a federal government to address the opioid epidemic, which is killing tens of thousands, if not more, Americans every single day, week, month of the year. We put out this statement, though, because there was inaccurate information out there, or I should say HHS put out this statement because there was inaccurate information out there, and we wanted to provide clarification on the allowable uses for the HHS harm reduction program. It's not a change in policy. This program, though, is focused on harm reduction strategies, including prioritizing the use of fentanyl test strips and clean syringes. And all of these harm reduction services that will be supported by these programs are intended to save lives from an epidemic that we know is devastating to communities across the country.
So notice that she conceded the syringe point, but not the crack pipe point. Why?
Like, and that's such the problem with this statement from HHS. Like, the program is meant to, quote, support community-based overdose prevention programs, syringe service programs, and other harm reduction service programs. That includes the pipes. Safe pipes are the same thing as safe syringes, just because you have different sort of connotations in your head because they're primed by American culture and the right wing particularly. This is a health fact. This is just health.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're just like not calling them crack pipes in the safe smoking kits.
Well, I'm not sure what the actual thing is. They're saying it's not going to be used for any sort of like Becerra said, like it wasn't for any sort of pipes or any reimbursements later down the line. So like I don't know if this is like the Hyde Amendment stuff, right? Where like we have to be super strict about what's going where, when it should be up to the medical and health providers. Like,
exactly.
This is simple stuff.
Right. I mean, it's better than it's just so silly because the way that you're going to ingest the drug, it's going to be ingested either way. You can provide a clean way for that to happen, like handing out straws and $1 bills on Wall Street is the equivalent of what's being done here. Let's be real about what kind of drugs are being taken there.
Well, and I really think the what's transformational about them, and why Marco Rubio and Candace Owens and all these people are threatened by this, is the on-ramp to public health.
Yeah.
Because like that whole thing where the system is, instead of treating you like a criminal that they're hunting down, is actually providing for you and caring for your safety. And by the way, if you're done getting the hit and want to come get clean through this services, like that's what we should be doing.
Here's somebody you trust. Here's a health provider that has not judged you, that has looked out for you, provide you with clean needles or pipes, and then that allows for them to come to that person and say, hey, I may need help. I may need to get off this. That's exactly the point. The right wing is terrified. One, they see this as a great opportunity to hit Biden, who, by the way, I don't know, I'm old enough to remember the 2020 primary when he was being hit over and over again because of the draconian crime bill that Biden pushed forward.
Yep.
He has been instrumental in the locking up of addicts and the criminalization of drug addiction. So this is like, talk about harm reduction. This is one of the least that Biden can do in order to reduce the own harm that he's caused.
No, he has a history of caving to this sort of pressure, or like even worse, like joining the chorus with it.
Right.
And it was always, of course, the problem with Biden. It was he never promised to like legalize marijuana in the primary. He's always said like, I've got to look at that, right? Like even though it's the most blatant things. I mean, it reminded me of Acorn a lot in the folding of the Democrats when they need to grow a backbone and actually stand up for like what's right, and instead they just grant all of the framing of the right and retreat. And it's like the you look into these kits, and whether it's in San Francisco or the other cases, like they include the pipes. Right, so if you're supporting those programs, you need to be supporting
listen to the science.
Pipes. Exactly, like we said, like harm. What is it? Harm reduction. Harm reduction doesn't care about your feelings.
Right. Like you said, right? Yeah. Matt's quoting himself. But it's a great point, and why they are afraid, the right wing, is yes, they want to continue to use the racist tropes, and just the second part of, and building off of what you said about public health.
I mean, that's what originally happened with like expanding healthcare in the middle of the 20th century, was like you used racism in the South to say like, oh yeah, we're not going to let the government take over healthcare and integrate us. But
this goes hand in hand with, and it seems like a loose connection, but bear with me, with someone like Nancy Pelosi's insistence that we are not going to temporarily expand Medicare during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing.
We're going to do COBRA subsidies.
Honestly, do you really think if like let's say you're a Pelosi donor and it's just you and her in a room and you'd be like, these crack pipes? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. We got to look into that. Like, I don't think she would stand up for that stuff.
Of course not. Of course not. They're not going to stand up for the most vulnerable in our society when they feel that it hurts them.
If they can do it with some cover, yeah, they might give you some scraps.
Maybe if the CIA, when they were helping fund the crack sale during the 80s, maybe if they handed out crack pipes, that might have been some way that you can get the Republicans on board with it. Right? No? Silly. All right.